Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, September 25th. This is Gina Palma. Today we will have quieter conditions across the Great Basin. However, winds will increase again over parts of central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming, both Wednesday and Thursday, with breezy northwest winds between 25 and 35 miles per hour and low relative humidity. Otherwise, temperatures will continue to warm with dry conditions from mid to late week. Over the last 24 hours, we've only seen some light showers over parts of southern and eastern Utah and over parts of Wyoming into Idaho. However, very minimal lightning occurred across the Great Basin and really just along our southern border, with much of the lightning to our south and to our east. Light initial attack occurred yesterday across the Great Basin. However, we still have several large fires in the area. Over the last week, our precipitation has been minimal across the area, and even over the last 30 days, any precipitation we have seen over southern and eastern areas and up north has been well below normal. Also, we've seen no precipitation over much of northern Utah into southern and southwest Idaho and the northern half of Nevada over the last 30 days. How this has impacted our fuel conditions: ERCs remain above the 80th to 90th percentile in most areas, with the exception of the far south and the far north, and still several areas over northern Nevada into northern Utah, eastern Idaho, and Wyoming have ERCs remaining above the 97th percentile. How this relates to normal for this time of year: ERCs are obviously still well above normal in all areas and near to above records in many areas of Wyoming, eastern and southern Idaho, and into northern Nevada and northern Utah. We still have a fuels and fire behavior advisory in effect for parts of the Great Basin across western and northern Nevada and over into northern Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming. The satellite loop from this morning shows the cold front now well to our east with northwest flow across most of the Great Basin. We will see light to moderate winds today with this northwest flow. However, they will increase again tomorrow and Thursday. Otherwise, strong high pressure off the west coast will eventually build eastward, and this will bring warming temperatures through this week, and temperatures will return to above normal with very dry conditions. Now looking at the smoke dispersion forecast for the next few days, you can see, especially off our large fires in Utah and Wyoming, a general northwest flow which will push any smoke off to the southeast through Thursday. Looking at our weather pattern for later this afternoon, you can see an area of low pressure now well to our east with northwest flow over the northern portion of the Great Basin. However, generally light to moderate winds as strong high pressure remains building off the west coast. Therefore, no high risk across the Great Basin. Relative humidity will remain in the single digits to low teens across much of the southern two-thirds of the area, and a little bit higher, especially over central Idaho. Again, you can see that wind image on the right with generally light to moderate winds today. As we move into Wednesday, another system starts to drop into Montana. Therefore, winds will start increasing over the south end of that trough, with northwest winds, breezy especially across Wyoming, and also over parts of central and eastern Idaho, where wind gusts will increase to 25 to 35 miles per hour out of the northwest with low relative humidity. Therefore, we do have a high risk for Wyoming. Otherwise, strong high pressure continues building over the west coast with lighter winds over the western areas of the Great Basin, and again, very dry conditions over many areas. Relative humidity remains in the single digits now across all of Nevada and Utah, and even starts to drop into the single digits to low teens over southwest Idaho. The wind image on the right shows those gusty northwest winds in the north, again strongest over western Wyoming, however also breezy, and will increase from today over central and eastern Idaho, and even over parts of southwest Utah. As we move into Thursday, this strong ridge of high pressure starts to move to the east. However, we're still seeing the influence of that trough to the east over parts of Idaho and Wyoming with continued breezy winds and high risk over western Wyoming. Otherwise, very dry conditions. Single digit to low teen relative humidity region-wide. And you can see those gusty winds again on Thursday in the same areas that we will see on Wednesday over mainly Wyoming, and also back into parts of Idaho and into parts of the Uinta Basin and the northern Wasatch. No precipitation is expected over the next few days. As we move into Friday, we will see this ridge of high pressure broken down a little bit by an area of low pressure moving into northern California. Right now, this area of low pressure is dry and will just continue with dry conditions and also warming temperatures through the end of the week with that ridge building overhead with temperatures above normal. Therefore, no high risk on Friday. As we move into Saturday, this low starts to track northeast up towards Oregon, with most of the moisture into California and Oregon, and again expecting dry conditions for the Great Basin. We may have a few showers over parts of the central Idaho mountains, however, on Saturday. Again, no high risk issued with continued dry conditions in most areas. You can start to see what is currently Tropical Storm Rosa off the Mexican coast, and this will continue tracking northward and actually bring significant moisture to the Great Basin as we move into the early part of October. On Sunday, we still have a trough off the west coast, with maybe some showers into southwest Idaho, and also we're starting to see some of that moisture from Rosa move into the far southern areas of the Great Basin. Likely on Sunday it will just be some cloud cover for southern areas. Again, no high risk, as winds will remain more in the moderate range. On Monday, we see the moisture from Rosa really start to move north across the Great Basin as this area of low pressure off the coast pulls that moisture to the north. We could potentially see significant precipitation for the eastern two-thirds of the region, with a little bit lighter rainfall on parts of western Nevada and up into Idaho. But again, this is a major change from what we've been seeing across the Great Basin. You can see the 7-day total precipitation, and again, this is mainly accounted for what will occur early next week as the moisture from Rosa moves north. You can see the most significant precipitation is expected along the Arizona Strip and across Utah, but we could also see some heavier precipitation over parts of far eastern Nevada. We'll also see some lighter precipitation in western and northern areas out ahead of the area of low pressure off the west coast. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us through the first week of October, still near to above normal temperatures, but again you can see how the precipitation picture has really changed as we move into October, with the best chances for the heavier amounts of precipitation over the eastern half of the region, but we'll still see moisture increasing in all areas. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.